Hi everybody, Dajahao. I am Peter, and these videos are called Early Steps, 学习英语第一步, and these are introductory English lessons to help you in the beginning to get basics. So today's first video we'll have a crossword puzzle to learn new words. And we also have reading and questions. So let's start with the reading, and we can read this together. Australia. Country, Australia. Number of states and territories, 6 states and 2 territories. Land area. Australia is estimated to be, now this is a big number, how do you say this? It's always difficult. Okay, I'll try it. I think it's 7,692,024 square kilometres, and is the 6th largest country in the world. Population. There are more than 22 million people living in Australia. That's not many. Highest point. Mount Kosciuszko is the highest point in Australia and is, and here's another number, how do you say this? Okay, it's 2,228 meters high. 2,228 meters high. World records. Australia has more than 10,000 beaches, more than any other country in the world. Australia is also home to the longest piece of straight railway track. The track is, and here's another number for you, 478 kilometres long, and stretches along the Nullarbor Plain in South Australia. Nullarbor means no trees. It's a desert, there are no trees. The Nullarbor Plain. The world's longest fence runs through central Queensland and South Australia and is 5,531 kilometres long. That's a very long fence, isn't it? Now there are 7 questions about what we read, and after the questions there are little questions there for true or false. Is what is said true or is it false? So we can read the questions and then answer them one by one. Okay? Australia is the largest country in the world. True or false? We'll go through these again in a minute. The country with the highest number of beaches in the world is Australia. True or false? Australia's highest point is the Great Dividing Range. True or false? There are 8 states in Australia. True or false? The longest continuous fence runs across the Nullarbor Plain. True or false? There are nearly 22 million people living in Australia. True or false? The longest straight railway track can be found in Australia. True or false? So to answer these questions, Australia is the 6th largest. It says there in the writing at the top, it's the 6th largest country in the world, so the first one is false. The country with the highest number of beaches in the world is Australia, which is true. Australia's highest point is Mount Kosciuszko. It is not the Great Dividing Range. That is false. There are 8 states in Australia, but there are actually 6 states and 2 territories, so that is false. The longest continuous fence runs across the Nullarbor Plain. That is not correct. The fence runs through Queensland and South Australia, so that is false. There are nearly 22 million people living in Australia is true. The longest straight railway track can be found in Australia, which is true. So there are some words there to learn that are very useful, and one is largest. They're talking about the biggest things in Australia, the longest, the largest, and so forth. So here's a large apple, a larger apple, and the largest apple. The first apple is large, big. The second apple is larger than the first. The third apple is the largest of the 3, the largest. What about our beaches? Here's on the left 3 beaches, in the middle 10 beaches, on the right 30 beaches. 3 beaches is a high number of beaches. 10 beaches, a higher number of beaches. But 30 beaches is the highest number of beaches, the highest. What about the Great Dividing Range? What is that? It's a great mountain range. Great is something that's large and important. The Great Dividing Range, that's it on the map there. Great Dividing, to divide, means to separate. Separate the coast from the inland. And range is a measure word for mountains. A mountain range. So that's the Great Dividing Range. Here's the longest continuous fence. Continuous means non-stop. The one fence goes from its beginning to its end unbroken. There are no holes and there are no gaps. The fence is continuous. And what about this? Here's a map of Australia with the train line going across the Nullarbor Plain. It's the straightest track, the longest straight track in the world. Straight means no bends or curves, a curve or a bend. So down the bottom picture we have a train going in the direction of the red arrow. The train line curves to the left. The train lines curve to the left. So that's about Australia. You learnt a few words there and how to say some things about the longest and the biggest and so forth. And let's go to our crossword puzzle, because this helps you learn more words. Now on the crossword puzzle we have the words on the right: brag, chat, discuss, joke, report, scream, speak, and whisper. So brag means to talk about yourself. Chat means to talk with friends, like Liao Tian. Discuss, talk about something. Joke, say funny things. Report, talk about a topic. Scream, you shout loudly. Speak, that's what I'm doing now, speaking, say anything. And whisper, say very quietly. So in the crossword puzzle we have words that go across, and then we have words that go down, up and down. Well, across, those words go from left to right, and these rows are horizontal. The other words go down from the top to the bottom. They're vertical. So let's fill in the crossword puzzle, see if I get it right. So we start with 4 across. Speak very softly. That would be whisper. Make a loud cry would be scream. Say funny things is joke. Talk in a friendly way, chat. Now for the down words, talk over is discuss. Say out loud is to speak. Talk big is brag. And share news would be report. Okay, so you can try to fill it out yourself, practice writing them into the crossword puzzle when you download the puzzle and can print it. And remember those words, they are very common. I know some people who are always bragging, always talking about themselves. There are other people who are always joking. And these other words, whisper, you speak quietly. In the movie theatre, you can only whisper, and so forth. So you learn those words, they're very useful words, and this will mean you have a lot more words to use to explain things, use them for conversation. And the crossword puzzle is to help you remember the word and the meaning. So that's all we have at the moment for this lesson. I think that's a lot to learn, and if you do go through these things and revise them, you would have learnt a lot, and you'll be ready for the next lesson when we have some more interesting things to talk about.